The right woman will make your life amazing. If you're a man and you want to find the right girlfriend or wife, but you feel a little bit lost, you don't know how to go about getting more quality dates, how to screen out the wrong ones, how to keep the right ones interested in you, and maybe you weren't even sure whether you should actively make a decision to pursue a relationship or to just wait for the right one to come to you, this video will help you. I first want to start with the introduction of a positive vision, which is you don't even know how good your life is going to be when you have the right woman by your side. I would really like to encourage you to imagine what it's like to wake up with a woman next to you who you're physically attracted to, really physically attracted to, who loves you. She just gives you love for no reason. She likes you. She's happy to be around you. She doesn't judge you. She supports you. She has very high levels of desire for you. She just thinks you're amazing. Way more awesome than you actually are. And then you go through your day, you work. You have zero worries about whether she'll be loyal or not. There's almost no arguments. And if there are arguments, that'll happen very rarely. They get resolved very quickly because she's mature. You have the same hobbies. You get intellectual stimulation. She has the same values as you, so you don't need to argue about nonsense like male friends. It's just beautiful, and you really love her. And you give her things, maybe an ice cream, could be a gift, could be a trip, and she has so much appreciation for you, and you're just happy. And then you go to bed, you connect intimately, spiritually, and you feel amazing. Think about what that would do for your productivity at work. Think about what that would do for your levels of happiness and fulfillment and being connected in the world. What that would do to bad habits, your alcohol consumption will probably reduce that. How your loneliness would decrease. How a sense of purpose would be reintroduced. Not that you don't have purpose, but it would add a totally new sense of purpose. You'd build a family, you'd have kids with her, or maybe if you already have kids, just kids, you bring those families together, whatever you want, whatever you're into. Imagine how good that would be. And said, David, is that even possible? Women these days? No, it's not women these days. Most people in the world are good people, first of all. But just because most people aren't right for you, which is true, 99% of women that you meet in the world aren't right for you. That is a fact. But in the US, for example, there's 150 million women, 15 million women in your age group alone in the US. Let that sink in. Can you find one? It is really an achievable mission that we're pursuing here, my friend. It's nothing wild. It's nothing that crazy, but David, in the past, it hasn't worked. If you're using the rear view mirror to guide you forward, you're going to crash. That's a fact. If you think that just because it didn't work in the past, it's not going to work in the future, well, my friend, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. And you're robbing yourself of life's greatest joy. Because it is true. There's a lot of billionaires who have said it. The most important decision you'll ever make in your life is who you have by your side. And I talk about having your purpose and your career and your health as a man and spending time with quality male friends. You got to hang out with your male friends, with your buddies, with your bros, or the broufs, as my clients in London would say it. But having the right woman by your side is one of the most important things that stabilize you. And if you have the wrong one, as you've experienced in the past, like I have with my ex-wife, it's horrible. And my ex-wife wasn't even a bad person. She's a good, kind-hearted person. I would say a bit difficult, but she'd probably say the same thing about me. We simply were not compatible. And if two good people get together who aren't compatible, you're setting yourself up for real suffering. But the opposite is really true. I want you to fully imagine what it would be like to wake up with love, go to bed with love, have stability, same values, passion, intimacy, and somebody you're truly attracted to. I'm not saying perfect. Perfect does not exist. But imagine you have a 5 out of 10 level compatibility with your ex. Not that great. Or a 9 out of 10 level compatibility regarding physical attractiveness, personality and values, and IQ or intellectual stimulation. Wouldn't that be amazing? Yeah, it's absolutely possible. So what can you do? Well, first of all, write down your must-haves, nice-to-haves, and deal breakers. And somebody on my Instagram asked the other day, well, why do you need nice-to-haves? Is it not just about must-haves and deal breakers? Well, you write down your nice-to-have so you figure out what isn't the must-have. I talked to a client the other day and he says, it wasn't a client, not true. I was on a podcast here in Dubai where somebody invited me, really, really nice guy, Italian guy, and he says that, and he said this publicly on a podcast, so I'm allowed to share this, that before he met his wife, he thought, oh, I really like blondes, but I really want a woman who's blonde and who has curly hair. Then I didn't tell him to do that, he did that independently, he wrote down his must-haves and his nice-to-haves, and he realized, well, it's actually just a nice-to-have. You know, curly hair, I don't really need it. And now he's with his wife, and she's amazing, she's gorgeous, everything's awesome, right? But and by the way, he was not a client of mine, right? But he shared the story. And that is why nice-to-haves are important. So you realize, oh, this isn't a must-have. And if it isn't a must-have, keep it as a nice-to-have. Because the more you have clarity, the easier it'll be for you to find what you are actually looking for. And you need to write down your must-haves and your deal breakers, because if there's just one deal breaker, you got to move on. Guys do this all the time. David, everything's amazing, she's beautiful, she's loving, but she gets upset for no reason and she hates me for a couple of hours, or she doesn't apologize, or I'm just not physically attracted to her, or X, Y, Z. If it's a deal breaker, it's a deal breaker. Because if you settle for below your potential in this area, you're going to set yourself up for suffering, my friend. And I don't want that. Again, not perfect, but the difference between a 5 out of 10 level compatibility and a 9 out of 10 level compatibility is a life of difference. So I was married to a woman who wasn't right for me, real briefly. Then I I was working for Salesforce at the time, met my mentor there. Didn't go to personal development seminars forever, learned from some of the best psychologists in Germany, got a ridiculous amount of experience in dating, then helped men from 45 countries from all around the world, most of them in the US and London, by the way. I was just in Miami teaching a seminar. Most of the coaching I do is obviously online, but some of it is in person. And so completely changed this area of my life. And tons of other people. That's why it's very fulfilling, by the way. It's an amazing job. It is truly something special. I got to work with really, really, really interesting people. Some guys work in finance, business owners, medical professionals, some engineers, some lawyers, principals of schools, teachers, like very famous people, normal people, like really interesting guys they tend to be more successful. Some pretty successful, some very successful, but really kind men, right? Very kind, good people who they have a lot of areas, most of the areas in their life pretty much sorted, but the last missing piece of the puzzle is a relationship to the right woman. And to me, it's amazing because it's so much fun. I was just with a client in Dubai a couple of days ago. And it was funny, we were at a beach club here. I mean, I go back and forth between Dubai and Dublin. Dublin is amazing, but the weather right now is an absolute and utter disaster. I give you Google weather Dublin right now, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. They call it the beast from the east. So I was with this client of mine, and he asked me something about my watch. I was like, yeah, well, you Submariner, whatever, you know. I'm like, I think I'm cool with my little Submariner here. I'm like, yeah, what watch do you have? He goes, well, it's an RM. I'm like, what's an RM? Like, I didn't know. It's a Richard Mille. Okay, well, how much did you buy it for? Well, I bought it for $250. It's worth $400K, and I have like $5 million worth of watches. I'm like, wow, I didn't know you were so rich. I should have charged you more. Like, joking, right? But that was interesting. Yet, wouldn't do an approach without me during the day, right? Crushes in a lot of areas, kind, good looking, good shape, all on point. It's just this area isn't figured out. So you can have a competence in one area. You can do well in a lot of areas, but this is a separate domain. Amazing guy. I love the guy to death. And like, he's been making great progress, and we're going to get there 100%. What I would like you to understand is when you write down your must-have, nice-to-have, deal breakers, you now have a North Star to orient yourself towards. And then the next step is getting a date machine. There's only really 3 ways to get quality dates. There's dating apps, Instagram, and in-person approaches. I don't care where your future girlfriend or wife is going to come from. By the way, the right girlfriend or wife doesn't care about materialistic things. You can use these things to flex on men. Men are impressed by that shit. Women don't care. The right women don't care about materialistic things. Let me tell you that. When I met Fernanda, my fiance, 6 years ago in a pub in Dublin, I had nothing. Not that I'm like extremely wealthy or anything. I'm not saying that at all, really. But I had nothing when I was in Dublin. And I was sharing an apartment 6 years ago with 6 guys.
and we had one toilet, one shared toilet. She didn't care, right? I was working in tech at the time, but a very, very entry-level job. It wasn't that well paid. It was an awesome company to work for, Salesforce, and then a different one. But I didn't have, like, anything. She didn't care. We go for burgers. Fine. It was awesome. Because the right woman will build with you. If you already have, so good news for those guys who don't have money, the right woman will build with you, no problem. And if you already have money, you need to be careful to choose somebody who's not choosing you just for this. Yeah, of course she's allowed to be excited about lifestyle and security. We all are. But does she want to be with you, for you, because of who you are and what makes you unique, your essence, your soul? That is such a different level. So you want to get the clarity, and then you create a date machine with dating apps, Instagram, and approaches. I'm agnostic which your favorite channel is, but you got to send some messages on Instagram and you can get dates. I have a client right now in the US, his name is Justin. He went on 4 first dates this week just from Instagram direct messages. A very powerful strategy I teach in detail in my program. You can get on dating apps, Hinge, Bumble, Raya, for example. There's several other ones. Build a good profile, get really good pictures, write a prompt, write a bio that makes sense, get the premium versions, run a couple of boosts a week. You should be able to get at least minimum 2 to 4 quality dates a month just from dating apps. Can easily be more, but if you're not living in the middle of nowhere, right? If you have a big city, if you're either living in a fair enough big city or an hour or two away from a big city, you should be able to get at least 2 to 4 quality dates from dating apps alone. And then there's in-person approaches, which you're not doing right now because you're telling yourself you're too busy with work, which is nonsense. No, I believe you're busy. 100%. I respect that. Of course I respect that. But time is emotion, right? If something is important enough for us, we make the time. Don't tell me that if there was an amazing woman, somebody you'd be really excited to be with, would want to meet you. What day is today? Today's Wednesday. She'd want to meet you on Friday, for example, or this week. Would you not find 2 hours to go and meet her? Of course you would. 100%. Dating apps take 15 minutes a day. And when it comes to in-person approaches, you can just start conversations in everyday situations. You happen to go for a walk. You're in the gym. You are in a mall. You're in the cinema, right? Wherever you happen to be. Yeah, in your local gym, you have to be a little bit more indirect and a little bit clever because you want to get a bad reputation. But if you do it intelligently, you can absolutely meet women there. Look, you don't have to do a lot of approaches as a person, but it changes the character of who you are. The reason I'm so confident, and by the way, I would say not all, but I would say most of my clients, maybe not most, but I have a lot of clients who are way, 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 way richer than me. But they don't nearly have the same level of confidence that I have in this area. Well, they're getting there actually after like 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, whatever. They do get to, quite my level because I do believe we are, humbly speaking, the best in the world at this. But so it would be wrong if there wasn't some delta in skill or confidence, right, for me to teach this. But you can get to extremely high levels of confidence in a very short period of time, but just money doesn't do it. It really doesn't, because society has told you a lie. Society has told you, just be the man, just be the guy, and then the right one will find you. How has that worked? So the only couple of things you'll have to solve is you need to know what you want. You write on your must-have, nice-haves, and deal breakers. You create a date machine, dating apps, Instagram, or in-person approaches. Then you disqualify most of the wrong ones quickly. Then you get rid of the blind spots you have in your communication. Because currently you suck at communicating with women. Not suck, but you have some blind spots that are pushing the right ones away. And you can try to solve that with free information. I'm really trying to help you guys with YouTube videos here. There's a lot that you're hopefully taking away from this, from the 400 something free videos that I have. But in a coaching program, we can look at that in way, way, way more detail. We look at your individual situation. We'll break down what happened on the date. What did she do? What did she say? What did you do? What did you say? What was the texting? Okay. No, you're wrong. Or, no, she's a little crazy. Maybe stay away from her. You dodged a bullet. But the devil really is in the detail. And it doesn't have to be me, but somebody's going to have to give feedback. Otherwise, you'll keep repeating the same patterns if women lose interest in you. So that's really all there is. There is getting more dates and keeping them interested. And then there's mindset and understanding social dynamics. If you solve these things, you can find an amazing woman. Absolutely, no problem. It's not the big deal. But here's the catch. You were waiting for the catch. Well, the catch is it's going to require work. How much work? Couple hours a week. 3 to 10 hours a week. That's a lot. If you sleep 8 hours a week, you have 112 waking hours available to yourself every single week. Can you invest 4 to 7% of your waking time? Can you invest 5 to 8 hours? 5 to 10 hours, 5 to 8 hours a week for everything, which includes going on the date, getting a little bit of help, 15 minutes a day on dating apps, doesn't take more than that. Can you invest that? If that's not worth it to you, then you deserve to stay single. But listen, man, this is not about surviving. You can survive without having a relationship, but it's about happiness and fulfillment and love and purpose and having children and having a family or merging a family and maybe seeing your kids. If you already have kids, then how cool would it be for those kids to see their dad in a relationship and get that as a role model? Because otherwise they would miss out on that. You don't need a relationship. But where are your levels of happiness right now? 7 out of 10? 8 out of 10? This will bring you to an 11 out of 10, mark my words. This would be at the very least, a 30% increase in happiness, which is massive, trust me. And again, spend more time with quality male friends. But why not? Why not have a good relationship? You're only going to get to live this life once. Reincarnation? Maybe there's an afterlife. I respect that if you believe that. Maybe. We're going to find out. But should you not play this life as if there wasn't? I mean, obviously you want to treat everybody as well as possible, but what if there isn't? What if this is your only shot and you will die and you will be 111 years old with modern medicine looking back on your life and saying, if only I would have done a couple of simple things. If only I would have downloaded an app and touched the screen in a certain algorithmic manner, uploaded a couple of pictures, texted a little bit, said a couple of words differently on a date, I could have had 40 years of eternal bliss and happiness. Oh, I was a little bit too silly to do that. Ouch. And that is the reality for some men. And everybody's life is either going to be a warning or an example. I would love for all men and all women to be in a beautifully loving relationship, but it does require a decision. So here's my invitation. If you are a man who's doing well in your career or your business and you want to find the right woman and you'd like me to help you personally, what I would encourage you to do is apply for a free initial consultation with the link below this video. What we're going to do is we're going to analyze your situation, see where you're at, what's the delta, and then we'll figure out whether my coaching is right for you. We can help you with everything, but I want to look at whether it makes sense for us to work together or not. So click the link, apply for a free call. And by the way, if you don't have the resources to apply for coaching, no problem. There's 400 more videos here for free that will also help you. I want to help people who can pay me. I want to help people who can never pay me. I walk through the world and it regularly happens that guys come to me, either online, send me messages, or in person say, you have never met me, but you've changed my life. That is also deeply fulfilling to me. I have chosen this profession. If this was just about money for me, I would be doing something else. I'd be doing some crypto scam. I'm never, right? I'm saying this jokingly, right? I'd be doing some finance stuff or whatever. It wouldn't be dating and relationship coaching. You kind of gotta love this. And I really do. So click the link underneath, apply for a free call. That application form takes 30 seconds to fill out. Looking forward to speaking with you soon.